It's always like this. It's always like this. Well, good morning, you guys. I've been up early. Somehow or another, I just didn't. I woke up about 5. And I came out here and I just started doing some homework. And so, when I tell you that whenever I learn something, it's only minutes later that I, try to, put it all together and then come out here and give my daily lesson. But, of course, we're trying to follow up on the stories from the beginning of the Bible, Genesis. And what they have to actually recognize, what we have to recognize is this is the beginning. There really is no evil mentioned yet. The first part that we gave you already. The creation of our consciousness. This whole idea is that where we're missing things that are like where they put the beast and stuff like that is like this should be the space where we are. It's supposed to go, earth, water, air, and fire. That's the 4 stages of consciousness, and that fire is the highest stage of it all. And so what you'll find is we're missing that. We're missing that stage. All we have are animals. We don't have any fire or anything yet. So that's really us in our primal state, kind of. If you want to say primal, because we haven't gotten any sins yet. We haven't done anything. There's nothing wrong. So we were just really introduced to the number 7 in the days of creating mankind, and so not creating the earth and stuff like that, but mankind. It's that time of morning right now where the mosquitoes are bad, and there's a great big one just hungry as hell. So anyways, what you're getting out of the what you're getting from this is that we're growing. We have to go. We start off somewhere, and now we have to get someplace. All right. And this next place is kind of interesting because what you find is that after this on the Sabbath, on the 7th, he rested. There was no killing. There was no nothing. He rested because there wasn't anything. He didn't have to go and clean anything out. He had just made all of this stuff. It was the things that he had done. And it was what he made. He was cleaning out you. He just finished doing this. But they were making you. And he had nothing to destroy. That's usually the fire side of things. Like I'm saying, it's just not there. So all we're getting from the stories, or at least this next part of the story that I understood whenever I finished with it, because I was trying to get it to go 1 to 6. I was trying to do that program. And it just wouldn't do it. But what did fit is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, which is the, introducing 1 and then the creation and then putting the 2 together. Or the 3 together. And so there's this 1, 2, 3, which is the Trinity. So it's introducing the Trinity in the second half of this. So so here we have the earth, and it has no man to till the earth. There's no rain, so it's talking about the dry earth. So when there's no rain and no water, you're missing an element of life. And so it's this dry. So what happened is a mist comes up. So you have earth, which is 1, or just the 1. And then this mist comes up, which is the water. So you get a little bit of this. Well, let's just continue on. It says that it hadn't rained yet. There's no man to till the earth, which is till the ground. We mentioned it kind of when I was talking in the earlier stories, or later stories in Revelations, where Jesus goes down and does something in the ground. It's called tilling the earth. Tilling the earth is a massage, a mental. It's what it means to go into goes into meditation. This is crazy. It's crazy. But it's what it means to go into meditation. All right, there's no one there to till the earth. There's no one there yet. There's nothing there, so there's really nothing to till yet, because, he has to put all this shit on there first, So it says, there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And then the Lord formed man from the dust of the ground, breathed life into his nostrils, and gave him life. So this was 1, 2, 3. This is, so no rain yet on the earth. No one to till anything, but it's there. That's 1. Then this mist came up and watered the earth. That's a 2. And then the air blowed into the man's nostril to bring him life was 3, with the ground, and bringing the ground and the water and the soul alive. And then planted a garden east of Eden, and there he put the man he found, or that he formed. Now, all of this is Eden. Eden is your mind. It's all one right now. There is no left side or right side. It's just one, okay, at this particular point, okay? This is a situation where we are all at one, because the story is about being in Eden. It's about being with God. So it doesn't have a whole lot of left references right now. It's all right references. We're up here with Laban, like Jacob. He was up with Laban, and Moses, he hangs out with this other dude, God damn it, what's his name? I want to say Jethro. Let's just give it to him if that's his name or not, okay? But it's a J word. All right, but anyways, this is when you're up there dwelling with him. There's nothing else. There's no left or right. Okay, and so so he planted a garden eastward in Eden, and so Eden is there. But this garden is eastward. This is a nice little place. So and he put man where he had formed. Okay, the tree of life was in the midst of the garden. The trees grow good food, and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. So there's the 2 trees in there. So there is the actually he's talking about the midst of the garden. There's 1. Okay, and a river went through this garden and parted it and came into 4 heads. Now, 4 heads, this is, an introduction to the whole idea that there's, these 4 things, there's 4 parts of our mind, and it's introducing this to us. So this actually becomes a 3, because this was the combination of all these things. But these rivers, these are the things that feed the brain, and there's really good gold in these areas. They call it the onyx stone. There's some kind of stone, but what it is it's a stone that has like a stripe. That stripe has, something going through it. Like, it's mostly all dark maybe, and it has a little black stripe or a little white stripe going through there. And that's this idea of mixing things together, that you want to bring 2 things together. So, it could be your 2, and... But anyways, it was talking about these 4 rivers, and in our brain there's these 4 rivers in our brain too. So it's really talking about that. There's another direction that you can take this stuff in, because later on they said there's cherubims and cherubims. But let's keep on going. Let's keep going real fast. Just to show you, God placed into the garden. God placed man into the garden to dress it and keep it, and to eat of every tree except for the tree of good and evil. Eat it and you die. All right, I think that was the end of one of these. But this is the idea that if you do eat of this, you will die. With the idea that die does not mean die. Dying when it comes down to meditation and connecting to this tree is not dying. It's the idea that you will no longer be yourself, that there'll be a whole change in you, in your whole thing, got your eyes open up. But I don't want to spoil the story. Because it tells you that. I don't think I've really spoiled it. But it says, man should not be alone. All right? I will make him and help for him. This is one, okay? I'll make him and help. I will make him and help meet for him. All right? That sounds like bad English. I'm going to make him a help meet for him. A help meet who? For him. What is he going to do? So he's going to create the spirit, the spiritual side. He's going to make the woman, the mother, So this is the introduction of mother and father, from mother and father. And they're going to cleave together like husband and wife. All right? Because that's the way it's supposed to be. All right? Because there's no trouble yet. But he didn't want Adam to be alone, so he made this girl for him. So here's I will make for him and a help meet for him. All right? God forms every beast of the field, fowls of the air, brought to Adam to name them. This is two. This is his creation. It's talking about two. That's what two means. And now God plus Adam starts doing something with his rib, which is a bone, and brought about a woman. So this is three. And all these wind up being three at the end here. Adam falls into a deep sleep. God takes one of his ribs and then closes up the flesh thereof. Takes one of the ribs and closes up the flesh thereof. He hasn't taken the rib so much. A bone, when this guy says, you're my bone, the bones, and your bones, and skins, and my skin, well, bone is the thing that connects the two together. The bone in mysticism connects the skin, which is the outside of you, to the spirit that makes it, so that's why you're a bone of bone and stuff like that, So and when you cleave, we've already talked about this one time, but the idea that he shall cleave to her, this is what they're supposed to do. This is one with them now, All right, then we get going on here, and the rib takes from the man. He says, so Adam names her, right? Says, I'm gonna. Does he name her yet? Yeah, I think he does. It says, God made her and brought him unto man, and brought her unto man. It says, check this out. It says, bone, you're my bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, woman, because she was taken out of man. All right. Well, the idea is it may sound like he's just pulled something out and made woman with it, but basically it's just the idea that it was a piece of him that God would have made holy, and then placed it back therein, and made her woman, called her woman. This is the other side that they often hide. And, she's often hard to find as the one, whoever's sitting at the right hand of the Father, Let's see, shall man leave his, and then it talks like that, and then it says, shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall be as one flesh. All right, so they're not talking about two people here. They're talking about you become one. Awful hairdo. Oh, happy 4th. It's the morning of the 4th. They're both naked, man and wife, and they're not ashamed. That's how that ends. That's beautiful. Okay? Those are all threes. What you have here, this is all pre-anything. All right? Well, they have to introduce the serpent. All right? Because they're up here with God. They don't know nothing else. Nothing else on earth, but nothing else in the universe exists except God. And what a beautiful relationship that would be with God to have that, Except that, if we followed any of my stories, we just can't live up there. We get tired and bored. We want to, go someplace else. You know, we have to live. We have to live. You know, and up there we're not really living. We're running around naked. We're boneheaded. We don't know nothing. You know. Well, naked actually means that you're in spirit. You haven't even gotten your flesh yet. Damn it! I'm giving it away. Well, anyways, the serpent. The serpent comes in now. We got to introduce the serpent. Did God say that you can eat from any tree on there that you want? Did he? Yeah, and then whatever, So he's found, what he's trying to do is he said, you're not going to die if you do this. You'll just have your eyes opened, and you'll be like him. You'll be able to tell what good and evil is, and you'll be like God. But you're not going to die. So he's telling you the other side of this, The one side says you're going to die. You have to die. You have to die. But he's telling you you're not really going to die. So she eats the fruit. She doesn't die. Wow, this is cool. So that's another 1, 2, 3. That's how this works. She saw that the tree was good for food, and she ate it. That's 2. That's her and this thing. This serpent. This fruit. All right. Which represents the serpent. Desired to. It's a tree that. A tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the tree, and with her husband he did eat. So they did this at the same time. There's no trickery or anything like that. There's nothing silly weirdness going on there because they're one, And the situation, they haven't been separated. All right. So, and he did eat. All right, and it was her. She's the spiritual side. She's the one that's gonna get you to come up and eat, do this, take from this, come and meet me. Because she's wisdom as well. She's all these wonderful things. Both eyes were opened, and now they were naked. They sewed fig leaves together to make themselves aprons. This was really funny. These fig leaves that they do, the fig leaves, because they're still in heaven, they haven't fallen or anything like that, but now they're open. What's this? And I'm in heaven, whatever. So they put these things over what is considered the lower nature, so that they, it's unbeknownst to the lower nature, but I'm a high motherfucker right now. I'm on the, I got it going down, but let's not let the lower nature know this, all right. And there's a situation where, you're up there in this one place, the other side can't know what's going on, so that side is out, And it says here down at the end, and let's see here in the aprons, God comes walking through the garden, in the cool of the day. I wonder why they said that. I'm going to have to find out what that means, with the cool of the day. He's looking for Adam and his wife. They hid themselves among the trees, And this question and answer thing started happening, Say, hey, where art thou? There's one, It says, but let's not do that for a moment. Where art thou? I hid because I was naked. And who told you you was naked? Did you eat from that tree? That woman you gave me. She made me do it, She did. Yes, and yes, I did, So he gave in. Said, yeah, I did. So woman, what have you done? The serpent made me do it, And it was like, this is like, that's really funny. So he goes to the serpent, and he says, and the Lord says to the serpent, because there's a few curses now, this is the beginning of everything. This is the beginning of it all. So anyways, it says, the Lord said unto the serpent, thou art cursed above all cattle and beasts of the field. And upon thy belly thy go, and dust shall you eat. And all the days of your life. All right, so this sets this up to be Well, it's really kind of interesting. Cursed above all cattle. What it means is that this cattle and the beast of the field, this is your lower mind. This is the lower side of you. The curse, because you are this serpent is going to be eating their motherfuckers up all the rest of their lives. That's going to be his job, is to eat shit all the rest of his life, honest. And that's really what that is, because he's got to clean the house. He's got to make way for the king to come up around there. And that's really what that means. They're paving the way. When they're throwing the palm trees down, they're creating a way, when they're killing all those towns along the borders. They're making way for the king, baby. They just don't want to have no obstructions, they kill everything along the way. That hasn't happened yet. We haven't been introduced to ourselves yet, basically, I think, but that's the way it seems to be going. There's an order to this Bible, it did called the Logos, we call it a Bible. Logos is, I'll have to find out what that is, but I think it's like a program, But anyway, so that's what happens. He's, fuck you, serpents, so he's going to be devouring mankind from now on. So that's what he does, because we take on mankind, and we have to go inside to clean mankind out. That mankind is the sin. That's what we take on, what's from the outside, and it fills us all on the inside with garbage. And so we got to go inside to clean the garbage out. All right, but right now they're not introduced any of that yet. They're introducing the characters in this play. To Adam, I put enmity between thee and woman, between his seed and her seed. Bruise thy head, and bruise thy heel. Now, this is probably the most misunderstood one of all. And when I look at it, I wouldn't have known what it was either. What they've done is they separated you between your. This is the separation between you and woman. She now has to answer. Oh damn! That's later on. That's where it goes. She has to answer to you now. This is where people get, the male superiority and stuff like that. But what happens is this is now, we put something between here so that you can't get over to this other side. We talk about it. It's that wall. It's that arachnoid. Bruising thy heel. Their head is. You no longer get to use this if you don't. This is the situation. You're going to bruise you. You have to go between. You'll have to go in here to find her. That's really what it is. You're separated from her. And that's the only way that you'll be able to find her. Between his seed and her seed, we talk about the seed. She always gives the promised child, and that's the firstborn, and that's the one that usually has to get killed. That's why she has to give things in sorrow, because that's us. That's what we have to kill. We have to kill our firstborn. We have to kill us. We have to sacrifice our firstborn, and that's why all those ones that those bitches have over on the other side, all the maidens and all the slave girls and stuff like that, bonded women. Those women over there, their children just run rampant. They really do. That's us having intercourse with the left brain, having its intercourse with itself. That's its seed. And when you finally go inside and birth this child, this is when you are having intercourse with the right side, and that's the promised child. That's the one that is us, that we wind up killing to get there. It's very strange, but it's just the mean way in which they talk. They're hiding something from us, and they're hiding something from somebody else. But once you see it, it's really kind of cool. So Adam, which is the male, the person itself, bruises thy head and their heel. The heel is the end. You can think of it as the end of the rod. Of the whole body. It's really the end of the rod, which would be the backbone. That we're introduced later on to with Moses, and God teaches him about that backbone. Let's see. Here's to the woman. I will greatly multiply upon your sorrows and thy conceptions. In your sorrow shall bring forth children. In your sorrow you'll bring forth children, because we come there because we want help. You know? When you've had enough of the world, this is how it is. You just have had enough. You're going to birth this child with her through sorrow. You know? But it's a beautiful thing. Okay? Alright? I hope this is making some sense to you, because it's kind of cool. Alright, and he goes back to Adam and he says, hey, because you hearkened to the voice of the wife and eaten of the tree, cursed in sorrow shall thou eat from it the rest of your life. You know, in sorrow. That means this is where you come, after you've had your hell life, after you've absorbed the world, the beta conscious around us, and you have had enough, I don't think it gets rid of herpes. I'm not so sure, but, whatever. I'm just having a little fun real fast here. Is that, you're going to come to me because you're going to need me. You need me. This world out here sucks. You think you can do it alone? You can make it off mankind. You are not going to get saved from mankind. Mankind gives you nothing. Come to me, he says. I'll give you just what you need. And I already know what you need. I know ahead before you even ask me. That's how all of these stories work out. It's beautiful. All right? But we're still in the middle of it. We only got a little bit more. And he says, thorns and thistles shall it bring you. All right? These are the thorns and thistles. This is evil. This is awful stuff. This is what will bring you. These things, like thorns and thistles. What you got to eat. What? Because that's what they give you. You got crap. If you're going to go live in religion, let me tell you, I guess that's eating the thorn, the crown of thorns. You eat that crown, bitch. All right, and it says, on the sweat of your face shall you eat bread. All right, when you break bread, that's when when someone asks you to eat bread, you're going to go and hit the stone. That's really what that means. Eat bread until you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, and dust shall you return. So dust to dust. Adam called his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living. All right, this is another one. One is the sweat of your face. You should do this. Two is him and his wife. The mother of us all. This is what I tell you all the time. Is what it means. Mother and father. She is the mother of us all. And Adam is the first. He's the first. That's the first. He's the first of the men in this. And I think that's what they meant earlier by these are the generations of the earth, the heavens, with an S, and the earth. Right? So everyone has their own heavens. We're all our minds are the same, male and female. That's how it all is. That's our image that God has made us in. I think it's getting ready to rain. So anyway, what happens is, he says, because of that she was the mother of us all, God makes them coats of skin and clothed them. I want you to remember that coats later on, because he asks you to sell the coats and buy the sword. And a lot of people think, I'm going to go get me a gun, because I know that's the way we do it nowadays. But the coat is, sell the coat to buy the sword. All right? Let me see if you understand that in a minute. It says, behold, after he closed them, he says, behold, man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand. Let's make that the right hand. As he puts forth his hand and takes also the tree of life and eat and live forever. Oh my God. Shit fire. And thus sent him from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed At the east of the garden in Eden, cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Hey man, I'm telling you, it's all about the mind and the spinal cord. And all of this is really beautiful right now. And this is as far as we've gotten. All right? He's trekking down, so maybe some hell's going to break loose here soon. And I think that happens when he has his children. Because you'll find later on that this is going to be talking about the right and left sides of our brain. We have just split them in half. Right? That's how it works. All right? So good morning to you guys, and this was worth it. I think it was a lot of fun, and it kind of takes the angst out of it. I hope you women know that you are not responsible or worthy of being the reason why original sin is pinned on you. Why have you lived your lives for these thousands of years in the dark and under man's control because of this Bible? Because of books like it, and because of the way they read it, basically, and we're allowed to question it. I still have people saying, "Oh yeah, that's queerscape." So, I said, "Listen, hey, you can't get rid of the hate. If you can't get rid of the hate, hey, I'm sorry. I spit that blood out a long time ago. I got rid of that taste of the top of Scripture, and it's really easy to do. This is a far more complicated and less complicated situation where it's just showing you how to go within yourself. And we're being introduced to all of these at the same time. So I'm going to keep going on down the line here with the Bible, and I think it will reveal how to read it. And you'll see that it's going to be really, really a fun little run on the Bible as we tear it apart, and show its real truth, This is the breaking down of the allegory, where myth actually tells the truth. So anyways, best to you guys, and I love you, and take care. Oh, and it's the God's honest truth.